my beautiful, gorgeous beans of light to the Nick and Bean unscripted. Yeah,
I'm Beanie.
I'm Nick.
We're going to take you on a journey of conversations that include things like purple unicorns, aliens, real life stuff, and anything in between.
We can't wait to see where these conversations take us, because I can guarantee you they're going to get pretty cray-cray.
Well, with you in the room, Nicola, anything can happen.
That is true. Thank you for joining us on our journey. If you have any input that you want to add to this channel, we would love to hear from you. In the meantime, let's get the show on the road. Hey.
Hello.
Hey, Beanie.
How are you, Nicola?
I'm very good.
Good to see you.
It's great to be here.
I haven't seen you for a while.
Yeah.
Since behind the other side of the green screen before we came in.
Hey, can we just mention, I know you won't be able to see this if you're doing a podcast, but you have to jump onto YouTube because our fucking backdrop is second to none the best shit I've ever done in my life. Just letting you know, it's Beanie flying on unicorns, and I'm sitting on a fucking comet, I think. I'm not sure.
It's a comet. Meteorite?
I don't know, maybe. But it's cool as fuck, and I'm proud as punch. So go my skill set.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I feel like we're sitting to one side, though, so you can be seen in there.
Well, anyway, let's get focused, because people on the podcast will be like...
It's true. Okay, Nicola, because this is unscripted, I would like for you to tell me what we're going to be talking about today.
Well, I pretty much think about things straight away because I'm a planner.
Straight away thinker.
I'm a straight away thinker. I'm like, what are we doing next?
Yeah.
But this week I thought it would be really good because we're well versed in this topic, I feel. And this topic is...
She's talking about sex.
No, that's until we really get acquainted with our audience. But right now I want to talk about depression, anxiety, and healing, right? Because we are fully equipped in this area.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
3 of those topics.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll be able to squeeze
depression, anxiety, and healing.
Yeah.
Like, I know they come under the same similar banner, like they're all relatable, but maybe we should break them down into
we can,
or we could talk about it today, and then that could be like an introduction series into a deeper delve into.
Let's just go with the flow, because you asked me what the topic is, and this is the topic, and then we can just decide from fucking where to go if we do another one.
And just so I know for future, if I don't like a topic, can we like rock paper scissors it to see what we have, if we have?
Yeah, as long as you've got another suggestion. 100%.
Yeah, I'm happy with the 3 suggestions that you have, but also I'm happy with
okay
those.
Great. Phew.
Yeah.
Fuck, that was a tough conversation. We haven't even started talking about the subject yet. Okay, so I mean,
I don't want to bring you down though.
Let's talk about it, shall we? Because I don't know if you want to start first. I mean, I've got a potpourri of shit. Actually, you know what? I'm going to start.
Okay.
And I'm going to start. So from my upbringing, or my not even upbringing, from the age of, what fucking age was I? I don't know. I think I was about 22. Maybe 24.
I can't help.
I'm going to say 25. Final offer. And 25, I was working in a restaurant. I was doing 70 hours a week.
That's a lot of hours.
Yep, 70 hours a week. By the way, I thought that was when I did 40 hours, I said, I only have to do half a week this week. Like, that's how fucking brainwashed I was.
Not to segue, but I'm segueing a little bit. But did you feel like, though, back then, because I remember being in my early 20s in hospitality, and like it was like a cool thing, like the more hours that you could push out, the better you were, like a competition. Right?
I know.
Like double shifts and stuff. Like when you used to go, someone would go, how many hours did you do when you signed up? The other day, it's like, I did 14 hours. And it's like, I did 15.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, it made you better. And now I look back and I go, what a dickhead. Like, I think I was getting paid $10 an hour.
I was getting paid $13 an hour. And that was pretty good, apparently. Anyway, so I agree. Yeah, I think I did have a bit of a competition. I was quite, I had a big sense of belonging, right? So then...
And a big personality.
And a big personality. And I love my job, right? I fucking fizzed over belonging. Anyway, what happened was I started to get these feelings in my head. And when I say feelings in my head, it was like this sense of overwhelm. So I would be standing, let's say I was standing with you in a restaurant, and this whole feeling of over my headness would come, like I was losing my mind, right? And then from there, I'd go, what the fuck's going on here, blah, blah, blah. So this was happening for quite a few months until I got to a point where I was like, okay, well, fuck, I'm not okay. I think I need to go see someone. So anyway, what do? I book into my local GP, and GP, I explained to her the scenario, and I was telling her that I was working 70 hours a week and 40 hours was half a week. And, and she thought that doesn't sound okay, but never did she go into that ever more. And I'm not judging her, by the way. I'm just saying there's a little bit of a pitfall with when we come into the doctors and the GPs of the world. I feel like there is a little bit of a discord as to really ascertaining what other influences and environments are going on in your life outside of your normal day-to-day living. Anyway, she then said to me, wow, you sound like you got early signs of psychosis, right? Yeah. And I was like, what the fuck? What does that mean? And she's like, you need to be on 24-hour watch. Here's a number. Right, here's a number. Go home. Go fucking home after you just told me this.
You've got
go fucking home.
Here's a number. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh.
Yeah, no, it's laughable now because I'm out of the woods. But like go home, and if you have these experiences, call this number.
Did she explain to you what like psychosis was, or like
no, not really, not that I can remember. It's
and what did you think? Like when she said,
I was like, that was the end of my world. Like I was just like, fuck, I'm psychotic. Like
straight into institution kind of vibe.
Yeah, like I was like, I'm not okay. She basically just confirmed to me that I'm not okay. And then from that point, I went home and I contacted a really good friend of mine. Ironically, their name was Daniela.
Which is my real name.
Which is her real name. And, one of those sliding door moments, honestly, fucking sliding door. I went over there, I cried my fucking eyes out, and she just turned to me and she said, you're not losing your mind, Nicola. You just need to talk to someone. She just said that. You're not losing your mind. And do you know what that felt like to me?
Like soothing, was it?
It was just like, oh, thank you for seeing me. Thank you for seeing me. And I was strong from that point. I went back the next day and I said, I don't need to see a psychiatrist. I don't want to see a psychiatrist. I don't want, I just want to talk to someone. Can you recommend someone that I can talk to as a psychologist? Blah, blah, blah. Ironically, she then recommended a psychologist who I ended up talking to for 1.5 years or 2 years. And her name was Daniela.
What?
Crazy, right? Absolutely crazy. Synchronicities fucking popping.
It was all in the stars.
It was all in the stars.
Years before.
But so that was a year, that was that. And that was kind of my starting point. It definitely wasn't the end of. From that point on, I went into a deeper state. I went into a deeper state of anxiety. So then I started suffering panic attacks. So I went to see the psychologist. It was really great, blah, blah, blah. We spoke 1.5 years and I was feeling better, but then I had these panic attacks. And it kind of came to a point where she couldn't help me anymore because she was giving me conscious, do you know what I mean? She was giving me conscious tools.
Yeah.
That wasn't.
When you say conscious tools, what is that? What
she was treating me with my brain.
Yeah.
So my brain was smart. It's ego, right? So it if it wants to play a game with you,
yeah,
it can play a game with you.
Yeah.
And so whilst we were talking about things, I didn't feel like it was getting anywhere.
So you had awareness
yes.
to situations, but you didn't have the tools to change the situation.
It only changed it to a certain level.
Right. But were you given tools to implement and things
like
that?
Yeah. Not that I can remember them, but yeah.
Yeah.
But it didn't help me. It didn't help. It got me to a certain point, and then I needed to go deeper. So then what did I do? I went to see a hypnotherapist.
Oh, nice.
Fucking amazing. Yeah. Amazing. Like, and panic attacks, like, if you've ever had panic attacks, which
yes.
Yeah. They're fully debilitating. They're totally, you're fully attached to your mind and you can't see anything else other than your mind. And amazing. So I went to see a hypnotherapist, and then from there, from there, and that was amazing. I had an amazing session with this guy who was a GP actually.
Just one session with him?
I had a few sessions.
Yeah.
It actually eliminated my panic attacks.
Yeah, right.
Eliminated. I had this one particular session. He took me so deep into the trance that I just kept crying. I kept crying, and he was saying to me, "What's wrong? What are you feeling? You know, what's going on?" And I was just going, "I don't know. I'm just really sad." And I believe at that point that I was connecting to a past life, like a very, very, very deep, energetic sadness.
Because you couldn't relate it to anything?
I couldn't relate it to anything. I didn't understand. Like there was nothing particular that was going on. So then I was, you know, my panic attacks were done, which was fucking amazing. So I was like, great, okay. And then now I just had general anxiety, right? So I'm like, okay.
And what did that feel like to you?
Well, you know what anxiety is like, right?
I do know, because I had it for 20 years of my life. It was serious, yes.
Yeah, like it's that constant thing of never really feeling okay. Like you constantly ascertaining your environment, working out if you're going to be fucking okay.
I would add to that creating your environment as well, because the illusion that is anxiety, and I know this is a big trigger word for people to say it's an illusion, but you are creating your reality. Do you know what I mean? Around you, you're reacting to the world around you, and you're reacting to what the mind is telling you in that space, which is potentially, I'm not safe, or I don't feel safe. Feel safe. Do you know what I mean? And then you're perpetuating that snowball or tumbleweed, whatever it is, into something more and more and more. Anyway, back to you.
Yeah, no, totally. And it's like you never really feel like you're gonna, you know, like I said, it's just that constant thing that's just there. It's like, fuck, how do you get rid of that?
Yeah.
Because you get past, you go from not being okay, and then there's this thing that, you know, so it just changes, like your level of okayness improves, right? So what you were suffering before was like, let's say 10, then you go to 8.
Yeah.
And then you're operating at 4.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I can handle this. I can be okay with
so
life.
Then you're saying 4 becomes your normal?
Yeah.
Like you accept like that you'll always have something, like, when I say that in essence of like, I know myself or other people, and obviously again, because I've had the benefit of, you know, last 14 years of kinesiology, so I've seen a lot of clients, that acceptance of course, we're going to have days that are better than others, and we're going to have days that are more challenging and you know, tough. But to have that acceptance, like you said, our 4 out of 10, oh, that's good enough, right? And that belief that potentially, why should we aim for 1 out of 10 or 0 out of 10, which I would say is perfectly present and not triggered by anything and feeling calm and centered, you know, and I guess unwavering, whilst also being totally malleable to be shifted left or right, and it's okay, you know, it doesn't knock you out. I don't know where I was going with that, just when you said the 4 out of 10. I'm asking if that's where you felt you could stay.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? And that's where I think we get normalized, in that when you don't know what's available to you, you then accept that a 4 out of 10 is fucking okay.
Until that 4 out of 10 becomes a 10 out of 10.
And when does that happen, right?
But what I'm saying is, like, so you've got the chart of 10, right? And then you do enough work or realizations or whatever, healing, and you get down to 4 out of 10 as your normal. But then that becomes the new normal. So then that top half disappears, right? And then this becomes your 10 chart.
Yeah, true.
Does that make sense? So the 1 to 4 becomes a 1 to 10 again.
Yeah.
And then it's measured in that. So like when people talk to me and they go, oh, I went backwards. And this is my idea of how we ascend and heal and do all of that. My saying is we never go back. Like we never go fully back to where we were before. And that's what I'm trying to explain with the 1 to 4 expanding into 10 again, because it's like we go to a new level, right? So then you're, sorry for people who are in a podcast, I'm doing hand things like a wave. I say it like a music chart. So you've got the music chart, right? And you're going up and down. So you're at the bottom of the chart, up and down, bottom, up and down, up and down. but and then what you'll do is you'll pop up to, say, the next notes, like the next row. And so what it feels like is that you've fallen all the way back down to the bottom of the row before that, but you've actually just come back down to the bottom of this row, and then you'll wave up and down in that. Does that make sense? 100%. And then we'll pop into the next level, and then we'll go up and down. So it would feel horrible for you if you were sitting at 4 and then 4 becomes your normal. Then it's like when you drop down to 3 or 2, you go, this is absolutely fucking amazing. Like, this feels the best. And then you might go back to 3 from there, and you go, this is horrible.
Yeah, which is what I was going to...
Because you're normalized.
Yeah, which is what I was going to say, because when you get rid of anxiety and then it comes back for a bit, you're like, it goes to a 10 straight away, which is to your point, right?
Yeah, 100%, because you get used to anything, right? And this is where I think we get trapped in jobs, we get trapped in relationships that aren't great for us, because we've normalized feeling like crap. And I think I spoke to you about this, and bring me back if I get too segued, because I know we're talking about mental stuff. How I recognized that my level of I guess worth, but it wasn't just worth, it was the environment that I was in as a younger person, that my level of suffering, I'm going to say, was a level that was way too high for me now. Like, I would go, there's no way I'm going to allow myself to feel like that or be put in those situations. But when I look back, like, it was easy for me in adult life to choose opportunities or things that weren't for my highest good, because there was a vibration over here of worth or lack thereof that was at that resonance, right?
Yeah.
So then when we're talking about mental health or deserving or anxiety, etc., like, you have a normal, like, for me now, like, sorry, do you need to finish your story?
I can go after you, that's fine.
Just like when we talked on, like, for me having anxiety from about 10 to 30-ish, probably a little bit after that, to be honest, 20 odd years. Like, for me, when I look back on that now, and when situations come up, or I use an example for a client or in a conversation or just even a memory, like, I go, holy fuck. Like, it gets me emotionally, because I think, you poor thing. I was gonna say you poor bitch, but that's not very nice, is it? You poor bitch. We have no need for that. Come on, Beanie. You know, like, I look at myself with such love and compassion, because I'm like, oh my God, like, I look back on that and I go, how did I even function? And I remember I said to you, like, when I went through menopause, I think it was last year, we went to a friend's house, and it was the only time I'd felt anxiety post 33 or something, really.
Yeah.
And I'm about to turn 50, so that's a long time to not have it. And then hormonally, I had that change, and I was like, whoa. Remember I said to you, we were lying in bed reading one night, and I was like, I just need to let you know that anxiety, I've just felt anxiety like fully running through my body. And you were like, are you okay? And I'm like, yes, because I'm witnessing it. But I know that feeling so well, and I hadn't felt it for decades, that I was like, not decades actually, because it's like, yeah, anyway. And I was like, holy shit. And then that passed, and I just breathed through it. But then we went to a friend's house, and I was watching myself. We were all sitting around for a good couple of hours, and I could see myself in that space, like, having conversations with people, like, I was totally normal and doing whatever
Survival,
I could.
Right?
Yeah, and this is like friggin' sweat workout or something, right? Internally, you're like you're churning, because you're trying to uphold this external facade to people that everything's okay. So I'm doing my, like, whatever, you know, beanie thing, and then sitting there, like, watching, witnessing, doing whatever. And on the inside, I was crumbling like a motherfucker, whilst also trying to not just, like, lose my shit. Like, I'm talking to people, I'm talking to myself, to, like, you know, with the other voice going, just breathe, it's okay, do whatever, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, when I'm talking about this right now, it's not that I couldn't have said to my friends, because they're beautiful friends, I could have said, hey, this is happening. I honestly was, I know it sounds like it was a horrible experience, but there was a part of me that was really enjoying witnessing the whole thing.
You're interested in it, right? Because why the fuck?
Yeah, right. It's the Virgo in me, whatever. I'm like, yes, okay, well, this is wow, this is really cool, whilst I'm suffering in silence.
Yeah.
Not so much silence if you're in me.
Yeah.
But you know, I was witnessing the whole thing because I wanted to. I wasn't enjoying the experience, but I was enjoying A, how far I'd come, B, how much pain I had spent in my life, and C, going, how the fuck did I get anywhere in life? Like, seriously, I'm like, how did I get out of bed? Like, how did I know that, like, obviously there was a lot of drugs and alcohol involved and avoidance behaviors earlier on to try and escape that pain, right? I went from being so controlled because of fear of like losing my mind or losing my shit, whatever it was. So I was so controlled into totally losing control in drugs because I could be me. Yeah. Like they unlocked, and this is a whole other topic, isn't it, to speak about drugs and whatever. Yeah. But that was that freedom. It's like that thing. It's like you're not addicted because of the substance. You're addicted because of the feeling the substance
of the liberation that it provides.
Gives you, right? Yeah. So for me to escape that, so then going back into that as a witness of it all and just feeling it, I mean, to be honest, I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but hats off to me, because I know that I got to a point in my life where I was like, I either kill myself, excuse this, and we'll put a little quick disclaimer on the video. Don't want to trigger anyone, but I did get to that point in my life quite seriously where I went, I can't do it anymore. I either have to take myself out of this situation by life, or I have to change something. And I just started to do little bits and pieces, you know, like going to a meditation thing that wasn't meditation. It was, but it wasn't. And just little bits and pieces until I came further, but I won't go into that. It was just when you mentioned that, and I just
4 out of 10. Yeah. Well, and it's all relative, so you don't. Yeah, it's great. It's great. I you know, I obviously know the story.
Can I just add that if anyone is feeling a bit sensitive to get support, there's a lot of people to talk to. Maybe we'll put some numbers on that.
Yeah, 100%. But going back to a 4 out of 10, right? So it was 4 out of 10. And then I was just, you know, having to deal with this anxiety and okayness. And then, ironically, I don't know what happened first, that my talk in my head decided that I was going to die, which I think, you know, that's a talk in the head in terms of leading up the anxiety. So that was the talk of my town for many years.
I think it's a general fear.
Yeah. And then also losing my mind was also the thing that kind of catapulted me into. And then my friend said to me, well, what, you know, if you lose your mind, what does that look like? And you don't want to be crazy, because what does crazy mean? And then you go, crazy means that you're not accepted, but are you really, is that the truth? You know, like it goes, there's obviously deep stuff in that in terms of where I went to resolve those ideas about being crazy, and obviously death as well, which again is a separate topic. But so from there, my sister then actually died, and then I went further into just a pit of shit. Like my anxiety was exactly like you explained, in survival, and I wasn't okay. And then I think we met after a year after.
Yeah.
And you know, subsequently Beanie started doing kinesiology, you know, and you know, I was a guinea pig, and she unlocked a lot of things in me.
You weren't my only guinea pig.
Yeah. She unlocked a lot of things in me, and was the catapult to the significant change and healing that took place from that point. But I guess the biggest thing that I really want to empower people to understand with anxiety is that, you know, I mean, ultimately, I understand that, you know, there are, you know, the extremities of what you're experiencing may feel as though, you know, obviously depression was something I also experienced. And, you know, that's another topic, you know, and depression, you know, there's so much I want to say about this because it's so close to my heart. But depression was something that I discovered, that I kind of went into from PTSD. I had a horse riding accident, and it just went me set me into a state of affair where I didn't want to live anymore. And it was a very scary feeling. And, ultimately, again, Beanie was assisting me in that process of moving this energy. And I want to say, there's so much I've read about this, but anyone who's going through mental issues, there is lots of studies about it being the catapult for an awakening as such. It's a tool to open you up, and I truly believe this. I think that, you think about today, the general people, the 22-year-olds and the 21-year-olds, there's a lot of people that are going through anxiety. There's a lot of people that have got depression, and ironically, at the same time, as an earth, we are going through a massive awakening, right? And so what's happening is the tools that we were given, let's say from my parents, your parents, or that generation, they weren't able to provide the emotional intelligence required to really understand what's transpiring. That's the one. Transpiring. And so therefore, what they do today is exactly what I did. I went to the GP. They told me I had early signs of psychosis. Let me pop you on some drugs. And I'm just saying that we have an opportunity to know that, fuck me, you don't have to go down that path.
You don't. But also I want to make like the note that it's okay if that's what you choose. Like, there's no judgment from us to say that. There are just a lot of studies and a lot of things that can help people, which we'll probably talk about through these things, because I know people say, oh, you should meditate. But I don't know that that's the best option for people. First off, I think getting into nature and changing your food. And I remember when I had anxiety, I used to always say to people why do I always feel more anxious after I eat? And there was a number of things, but everyone just said, oh, it's because your body's digesting food. It's no, it wasn't. Firstly, I was living off drugs, alcohol, and yellow food, I call it, because it's fried as fuck and it's all whatever, not good for your food. And my body was going into a reactive mess. And it was only years later that I realized that, firstly, I had leaky gut, so I was reacting to most foods anyway. Secondly, I was on a drug, alcohol, and a little bit of food diet because eating was cheating. Thirdly, I was, what was I trying to think of? Sugars, and it was, and no sleep. So anxiety was going to be rife, and come downs, right? So I replaced my come down with smoking marijuana to take the edge off. Until it created more of an edge. So morning people, morning children, this conversation contains many things. You've got a unicorn spike coming out of your head. That's cute. So it's now I would say to people eat really good fats to stabilize your blood sugars so you're not up and down. If you think about when you eat sugar now, you either crash down, go up and then crash down. And the emotional side effects of the things that we eat and not grounding, if you're having grounding food and being grounded, so putting yourself just in nature. I always say to you, the beach, walking on wet sand, is the best earthing conductor you can do for yourself.
Also exercise is obviously.
Exercise is, of course, exercise. And they're simple because, you're getting out into fresh air. I know when I used to have panic attacks, I would go outside and run up and down the street just to get it out, or go for a walk to break my thing. Because if I sat in a space, I'd just be I would literally be like this. I'd go out of my house to go to a friend's house to go, oh my God, can you see I would go into this full, when you talk about psychosis, it wasn't a hallucination. It was seeing things so amplified and my mind creating it. Do you know what I mean? And it's when we talk about normalizing, you go from here to here, then you add on to it. So it's here. So then what's normal is here, and then it comes here. And it's until you go, fuck, is this happening? And I remember my ex grabbing me once and going, look at me, because I was so in this story of craziness.
Yeah.
Anyway, not craziness, that's not a nice thing to say, but yeah,
it feels like it at the time.
I would definitely try, and not to say don't go straight to medication. If you need that help, by all means do what you need to do, but definitely like foods, vitamin B, especially vitamin B,
good
B6,
fats,
vitamin D, C, like magnesium, like those sorts of things, but like definitely vitamin B and D, you know, like,
and good fats are really important. And
fats are so important.
I guess too, we're saying that yes, do whatever you need to do to, you know, obviously bring you a state of calm. But I also want you to know that ultimately, when you realize, and I am the messenger, if you do not already know, I am the messenger. If you don't realize that the reason why you're going through this is not because you're intent to suffer. Okay, you're not intent to suffer forever. You're not, oh my God, you're unlucky. You're going to be fucking prosecuted and I'm going to fucking give you anxiety and depression and fucking anything else you can do to make you feel like a piece of shit. This is not why these things happen. Ultimately, you know, the greatest gift that I have had in my life, besides many things, is besides my lovely partner, besides the anxiety, depression, and all the other shit of mental fucking catastrophes, is what? I'm sorry, I was supposed to say, I get every word. Is the mental catastrophes, is the anxiety, is the depression. It has been the greatest gift because it is revolutionized me. If I hadn't had that discomfort, I would have never pushed past the barriers of really understanding who I am as an individual and how light I can be in this world, how fucking light I can be. I was one dark, fucking heavy, sad motherfucker. Not to say she wasn't awesome, because she still was, just letting you know, FYI. However, she was carrying a lot of stuff, be it past generation, be it fucking, you know, the current generation, be it fucking whatever. She was carrying a lot of stuff. And I want to remind you that the reason you are feeling and experiencing this is so that you can work through it, so that you can consult really amazing people that and not only that, the importance of understanding that we are energetic properties. We are not 3D. We are not matter. We are energy. We are fucking stardust. There is 100 trillion fucking stars in the world. We have more fucking cells in our body, people. We are fucking stardust. So the fact, the sooner you realize, oh wow, fuck, I am stardust, therefore I am energy, therefore I need energy exchange, transmutation, i.e. kinesiology, to get through the conscious, because the conscious, take it away, Beanie. She's just like, because the conscious is what we know, the subconscious is what we don't know, which is why kinesiology, Reiki, fucking hypnotherapy, fucking, you know, there's lots of great tools out there that you can really leverage and not dampen your light. And that's what I'm going to say. When you go on to antidepressants or any other psychosis drug that fucking, and then can I just also say, this is a multi-million-dollar industry. Multi-million. This is a $60 million industry. I'm just saying.
Millions and nothing.
Okay, well, whatever. It's a lot of money industry. It's a lot of money industry. And I'm just saying that if you want to, and you don't want to have your spirit dampened, mate, the only thing that's ever going to come from going a little bit deeper is your absolute pure awesomeness magnified.
Well, it's connection to self, isn't it? So the idea is to come closer to yourself or come home to yourself rather than take yourself away from it. And a lot of the time when we take certain things, they're designed to take the thing away or the feeling away, which doesn't always happen. And sometimes it ends up being worse. But like if you take the thing away, in that time is when the work is meant to be done. Mm-hmm. So the original design of these things was to take away that edge So you had the capacity, say, to see the wood for the trees or whatever it is. So, and I think the issue that I see with a lot of people is they have that and they go, oh, I feel so much better. And they get on with their merry day. And it's like, well, you're going to adjust to that. And it's going to have to be adjusted as a dosage or changes the dosage when it stops working. But in that, you can become a perpetual cycle of that medication rather than when originally, and my issue is that not the people that are in pain have it, because I think if that helps them and it works and they do the work, really it's doing the work when you've had that. It's when people, like I remember my friend's mum passed away, and the dad, like within a week after her passing, went to speak to his local doctor because they were kind of been doctors since he was a kid. And he straight away turned around and said, here's some antidepressants. And it was like, to me, I go, fucking hell, like, of course he's sad. But if it's for something like that, when are we like teaching people how to connect in that grieving process? Because that's such a beautiful process. It's not like, oh, I don't want to be sad, I can't think about it, it's too horrible. It's like, what about a beautiful connection with it? You know, it's like our idea of death, which I'm not going to go into here, but as a culture, like there's so much fear and darkness around these things, but to sit in grief and truly honor that process rather than avoiding it, like then it never gets processed, right? And it shows up somewhere else. And obviously from our belief systems, like as in our belief systems and myself, it's like that shows up somewhere on a cellular level. Like it gets stored somewhere, like, you know, Candace Pert's Molecules of Emotion, if you've ever read that book. She's a legend, was a legend. She still is, but she passed away. You know, our body will store all of these things, and there's nothing wrong with being sad after someone's passed. Like it's not like we want to forget it and just feel better. Like I would like to sit in that space until my being is ready to move on from it. And by move on from it, I mean celebrate it in a way that feels so beautiful for me in my heart space, that when I think about that person, it might make me feel emotional, but I would still feel love, and it could make me smile. Like, when do I get that opportunity if I just mask everything? Do you know what I mean? And I think that's a whole new topic that we could go into, but we're not going to. But yeah, that's probably my thing with it. You know what I mean? Like to just use it as a band-aid rather than it was meant to be used as that crutch. And once you know how you can walk again, you don't walk around with a crutch still, right?
Yeah. And I guess most importantly, it's giving you life skills, you know, like life at the end of the day, yes, 100% joy, gratitude, all that amazing stuff that you get to experience when you start to experience more light within yourself, right? You get to experience and you're like, wow, this is fucking amazing life. I can't believe I'm here. But ultimately, these skills, you know, these I don't believe they should be band-aid. I don't think they should be put on, you know, okay, I've got this, I'm you know, manic depressant, or I'm bipolar, or, you know, all these other labels. You know, bipolar, you know, yes, it's challenging, but yes, it's also, I believe, in a lot of ways, again, it's an opening for an awakening as such, because I truly believe, and this might be controversial, and I'm sorry if I rattle anyone's nervous system here, but I truly believe schizophrenia, bipolar, any of those disorders are caused from a trauma, be it from a past life or this current life, that hasn't yet been resolved. And it's a topic that is taboo in a lot of ways, because, you know, it's such a stereotype, you know, like I'm schizophrenic, therefore, you know, I used to know this lady at the, you know, the place business we used to own, and she, you know, she was psychotic, and they used to give her so many drugs she drooled from her mouth, you know, like it was such a dumbing down to the extent where she could not exist. And, you know, these people, you know, are just requiring more healing in my ways. Yes, it may take a fuck long time, and it's a one-on-one consultation, which, you know, obviously can be really exhausting, but I'm a believer that the universe didn't go, okay, well, I'm going to make these diseases relevant. You know, you think that cancer, I mean, we're totally digressing, I'm totally digressing, but that's a man-made disease, you know, and it's
a Westerner's disease.
It's a Westerner's disease. So, you know, when you think about psychosis and you think about those other things, I truly believe it comes from a trauma and it comes from healing. And healing, you know, there's this, you know, healing is tough, right? I mean, in a lot of ways, because you're having to go deeper within yourself. But I can guarantee you that, yes, there's like a fucking 70% dark spot at time, but the other side is like 120% light.
I think too, like what you're saying, I think it's coping mechanisms as well, right? Like I don't think that you're saying people with certain things can't have those things, but I feel like there's like, what am I trying to say? People aren't coping as well as they used to, right? And I think my thing is, for sure, if you need to get medicated, do that, but what are we putting into place to support that as well, right? Because there needs to be growth in that space. And I guess for the general population, for a majority of people, and I always come back to this, they don't know how to communicate their feelings. They don't know how to even express or label their feelings.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's really easy for people to come, like we've had, you know, staff before in essence that are younger that like, well, 5 minutes before a shift or 5 minutes before something, you know, they might have to call in because they're having panic attacks, right? Now for you and me back in the day, and this is like from my experience, I'm not judging anyone else. It's just I know since COVID, everyone goes, since COVID, mental health has been really bad. I don't think we should be allowed to blame COVID. Like I really think that putting COVID as the blame takes away the responsibility from society. And I've always said this, like people talk about mental health and they go, oh, you know, we've got to do this, and this for mental health. How about stop being assholes to each other?
Yeah.
How about like really like not talking about someone behind their back and bitching about them in front of their face? How about genuinely connecting to people and having conversations and checking in on people with love and concern, not with disdain, I have to do that thing, right? If we just become better humans, and some of you might go, well, I'm a great human. It's like, good for you. But there's a lot of people who live in their own cocoon and couldn't give a shit about anyone else out of there. And I'm not here to bag people. I'm just saying that we can easily go, oh, since COVID, people got more mental illness and it got tougher, and the poor young people, because they got locked up and they didn't get to play. And it's like, I call bullshit on all of that. I think there's like 10% in that is COVID, right? Beyond that is like, and again, this school's doing great things to integrate things and getting kids to talk about emotions more than their parents could ever talk about them, because we weren't taught, right? Like it's not something that we were taught. Our parents, unless they were really emotionally intelligent, well, like, what the fuck, I can't talk about that. Or I don't want to talk about it. And I had English parents, so it's like, ooh, couldn't we just shut the door and pretended everything's okay, dear? You know, like that vibe. Sorry for all the English people out there for that stage moment, but it's a little bit true. You know, so what if it wasn't just about like medicating people? Because everyone I know, pretty much almost everyone I know under 25 is on medication.
Yeah, oh, it's crazy.
Right, and I'm not judging them for being on it. I'm just saying I know that working with some of them, just as a friend, like not working in sessions even, but as a friend, they have gone, oh my God, like I'd go into that situation now and I don't actually feel like I need to worry about it because I've got tools to change it, right? So if we're just given a tablet and the tablet isn't working, or it's not working as well, or we still feel a bit the same. So where are we learning like mechanisms to come into our power
100%.
to change something and go, you know, fuck, I can do that. And I think when you were talking before, I thought about all the situations we've put ourselves in, and some people go, why would you do that? You know, like fasting, like, you know, ceremonies and things like that. And they're all obtained around fasting and staying up all night or doing all of these things. And sometimes it can be a little bit horrendous on your body, or it can be really challenging and really emotionally challenging, and things come up. And some people go to me, why on earth would you want to do that? And it's like, because if you challenge yourself and find that you can,
what happens?
then you know that you can. So that goes over into every other area of your life, because you go, well, hang on, that thing that I went into that I didn't think I could do and I realized I could do, maybe I can do something else, because the mind is so malleable. And we haven't even got into any of those conversations, which I love. And I think we need to do another episode of this. Like, the mind is so malleable, but if you train it to do one thing and it realizes it can do it, think of it like an expansion. It goes to here. And then you go, well, what if I do this? And it goes to here. Well, what if I do this? And it goes to here, right? It's like training. That's why they say, like, it's like a bicep curl for the brain, you know?
Well, and the brain is a muscle. I mean, it's an old statement I've used for fucking ever, but the brain is a muscle. So if
you are its master, right?
So
like, you feed it.
You
train it.
And one of the things, obviously, I'm knee deep in healing in my life now, and it's a constant revolution of myself, and it's fucking great, because every day I'm a fucking different person. Who am I today? I don't know, someone different from yesterday, and she's awesome.
It's a little bit true.
So, but part of that is reading books, getting inspired. What fucking educate your mind. I came from a family, and I fucking love my family, but we were quite limited and, dare I say, narrow-minded in a lot of ways, because we were sheltered. We didn't have a periphery outside of our family culture. And so today there's really no fucking excuse. You've got the World Wide Web, wubby, you got books on tap, podcasts, fucking YouTube. Alan Watts is a fucking legend. There's so much different. Beanie goes on about the book, The Brain, the dog that changes. What's that book? The
Brain That Changes Itself.
The Brain That Changes Itself. There's so many things out there, and it's all about empowerment. This journey of
it's about connection, though, too. It's not just empowerment. Like, it doesn't have to be on top of the mountain. It's about connection, a deep connection to self. Like, man, and that's the other thing I was going to say, because I think we should probably wrap it up soon. Because we could talk forever. But it is also getting connected to the people that see you. Like, I go back to my friend Daniela, and God, I fucking love you, babe. That sliding doors moment where you have people around you that you can be you with, that you're fucking real with, that you can be. Hey, I'm suffering from fucking anxiety today. Like, no, and I've got this thought in my head that bloody tells me I'm going to go crazy. Like, they might look at you thinking you are fucking go crazy, but let me tell you, every time you speak out loud a feeling that is somewhat vulnerable, the universe goes, okay, fucking Joe Bloggs just met me there in this really vulnerable space. I'm going to meet you there, and I'm going to give you the resources, and things are going to start clicking into place. The more you show up being you, and you connect with people that see you, that are authentic, that are like fucking real and honest and open and all that stuff, the more tremendously amazing stuff is going to happen for you. For sure. And choosing people that do honor that as well, like 100%. When you see everyone go through like any journey of healing or getting to know themselves or growth or anything like that, all of a sudden you'll find that the situations that you have been in might not feel the same. And to put a little scope on what I mean, when Nicola and I were first together, probably a year in, and I started kinesiology, Nicola was like, don't do any of that voodoo shit on me. And then it was like, can I have a balance? And that wasn't my point, but just an example of how we can change and open up to things. But also, if you've got groups of friends that you had around you based on the way you were before, then of course when you change, that might change with you, and some of the people in the group might come along and some of them might not. And if you don't feel supported by the people around you, then I think it's a really good time to look at the people that you have around you, because I know you said like you might talk to someone and they'll say, oh, she's a bit crazy, but I'll still support it. But like, you want friends that you can talk to. No one could ever say anything to me that I think is crazy.
No.
Like, I can honestly tell you, like, I understand every aspect of the mind. If someone came to me and was talking about murder, right, anything, like I can't tell you enough. Like, no one has ever told me anything, because my mind has gone to so many places. I know what people can do, and I don't believe that we are crazy. Like, I just know that the mind can go to places and make us think that we're crazy.
100%.
And like my mum used to always say to me when I was in my teens, like, you're not crazy. Crazy people don't know they're crazy. And I was like, prove it, you know. But like on a serious note, I did fear like being crazy, and I did fear my capacity to do the worst things in the world. And I would never do bad things to other people, but my mind would talk me into things, right? You become all of these different archetypes when you have different ideas of yourself, right? To perpetuate. It's just the mind perpetuating the story to back up what you think already. So
and I was just going to say also, just with friends, you know, the more that you are opening up and being your authentic self, you're also giving them permission to be their authentic self. You're like the leader. You're the leader of the pack.
And you find that out, don't you?
Like, yeah, and it's great because, you know, I think one of the greatest things when I'm vulnerable is that, fuck, just imagine how many people I'm giving permission to just fucking be whoever they are. Like,
and I can be a testament to that in a really simple way.
Yeah.
Like, I know when we first got together and we'd go out somewhere, and I'm like, and she was let me tell you, she was like,
I was top notch is what she wanted to say.
Like, looking at her, and we would go into a bar or something, and there'd be like no one dancing, and Nicola would be on the dance floor, and people would be sitting there just like,
she's got her mouth open,
and like looking at her and staring at her going, is she for real? Excuse me. Then realizing, and it was so good to watch these stages, because after like going out several times and witnessing it, it was like, wow, this is amazing to watch. They'd look at her do that, go, oh my God, is she for real? Then they go, oh my God, she is for real. And then within 20 minutes to half an hour, they were all joining her because she gave them permission to lose their inhibitions. And I remember my friend Richie, at my Larissa and Riz's wedding, he came up and they were a little bit drunk on the dance floor by the time I found them, because we were doing wedding rehearsals. And he came up to me and he goes, you know what Nicola does? She allows you to lose your inhibitions. And I was sweet. Like, you really do, right? But I also know the suffering that you've felt from people judging you because of that and labeling you crazy and just putting you in that bucket. And I'm glad that, well, I don't want to say I'm glad it's toned down a little bit, because it was really, really crazy. But I'm glad that you haven't lost that, because I think we need people in the world like that to be the path makers, you know. And some people might not have liked the way you paved a path, but you definitely pushed the boundaries so far that it pushed it out for other people to be able to come through. Right? But it's true, and to be able to see that. And I think you want to be around people that will help your growth, not keep you in a space 100%. That is painful. And you know, people that want to check in with you and see that you're okay and sense when you're not okay, you know, not to just be in a group and go, well, I don't care, oh God, they've got this thing again, or whatever it is, you know. I think you're choosing people around you that nourish you, and also be nourishing to the people around you, because it's a give and take scenario, and we can't just always expect people to save us. We might have something that we can do back for other people. And I think when we have that reciprocity that is flowing and giving and flowing and give it, like, it's such a beautiful space where we come into gratitude for what we're gifted, and also that gratitude for what we can gift to others. And that community and connection is really what is needed. And I'm going to end my part on this in saying that to understand that people who generally are feeling connected and whole, or at least connected and held, don't end up with addictions. And the rats in the test don't go back to the cocaine when they're in a group.
Wow. And
when the rat's on its own, it'll go to the cocaine. When the rat's not on its own and it's with a group, it won't.
Yeah. That's amazing. Right. And it's such a, I mean, it's perfect. I want to end with two things that I used to do when I suffered anxiety. And the first thing is that you put your hand in the middle of your chest, Sorry, middle of your heart, sorry. So just center on your breastbone. I think is it called breastbone when it's man? I don't know. Anyway, and just breathe into that and just have your heart, and it basically deflects the energy. It just calms your energy. And another one is putting your hand on your forehead and just breathing there as well.
Which are actually like neurological, like stress points. You know, when you tend to someone if they're bedridden or something, and people automatically put their hand like on their head.
Yeah.
It's a soothing ESR, emotional stress release points. Like they actually.
That's a technical term.
Yeah.
And so those are the two techniques that I've used in the past, just when you're going through that process and, you know, finding your way. And do you have any other tips? Food,
supplements, B, magnesium, D.
Yeah.
Main ones.
Good oils.
Eat good fats. Yeah. Good oils, definitely. And breathing, change the environment. Nature is perfect.
Yeah.
And seeing the wonder of nature as well, and connecting to that, not the fear of stuff, but yeah, just and connecting with people and calling on friends, you know, or
saying it out loud, like, yeah, there's
so many tools, but
there's so many tools, but these are like the, you know, connect with people, put yourself in a vulnerable position, say it, speak it, don't hold it in, because when you hold shit in your mind, the mind fucking loves it. It's like a trap. It's like, I can't say anything. Oh, I'm gonna, if I say something, I'm gonna. Should
we finish on my last recommendation?
I'm gonna have a few.
Yeah. Which is breath. Nicola, so you're gonna breathe. No, stop. Being serious.
Okay.
Very serious. No. So I want you to breathe in before. Wait, slow down. Come out again. This is a calming breath, okay? So you're going to breathe into the count of 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold. 1, 2, 3. We're going to 8, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and hold. So you hold it out.
I'm confused. So
you're very confused. So you're breathing for 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Yeah.
How many?
You can do. Let's just do 4, 6, 8. It's not that, but 4, 6, 8 will do because it's easy to remember. So breathing in slowly for the count of 4, holding for 6, slowly breathing out 8.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So you ready? Breathing in.
I think
1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6.
Okay. We're gonna go because this is getting ridiculous.
All right.
We fucking love you. Thank you for joining and hearing us.
If any of the things that we've talked about today have triggered you, I know we have obviously Lifeline and things like that. We'll find the numbers and put them on a thing to do our due diligence. But really, breath, food, nature, sleep,
seek it,
loving the fuck out of yourself, even when you can't. You don't have to love the fuck out of yourself, but at least hold yourself.
Yeah. And then just seeking a healer, kinesiologist, energetic, whatever, like go forth.
Doesn't matter, even if it's a psychologist, it can be helpful. Psychologist, but
maybe it's not psychiatrist.
It's a really good idea to clear the energy and neurological things around what your feelings and thoughts are, as well as just talking about them though.
Yeah.
Love yous.
Bye for now. Until next week.
By the way, hit the like button if you want to tell us that you like it. Leave a comment and tell us that about your experience, or whether it was a great experience, what you did, what things have you done with yourself to get out of these pickles, and maybe you're still in a pickle and you need some help. So
and also
and subscribe.
Yeah, that's it. We're in it.
Smash that subscribe button.